can see Walt, if he was alive right now, creating his own company to say "screw you, Disney."
Well,
you know think
how
Tolkien wouldn't fucking wouldn't burn his entire shit down, realizing
he
what
would.
Amazon of all the things to get the rights to it.
Well, if you notice, all these problems started coming about. Roy Disney was still alive when they were making good movies, and the minute he died, the crap started coming out. Roy Disney put a lid on a lot of this stuff and made sure that they produced content that honored, I think it was his brother's memory and what his brother intended, despite some of the other stuff that went on. I mean, they were that during that period, you got stuff like The Incredibles, you get the Beauty and the Beast, which was a huge hit, and a bunch of the regular Disney movies. Those sold well, and then the minute he died, the garbage started coming out. I mean, the creeps started coming out of the woodwork. So they're a huge company now, but they've screwed themselves.
Not anymore. They're putting up yard sales on everything.
Yep.
Well, it's also because they finally realized, like Warner Brothers with Zaslav went, "Oh yeah, we got to start licensing our shit off like we used to."
Well, I mean, think about it. Sound of Freedom is their biggest competition besides friggin' Mission Impossible. They own Sound of Freedom. They're like, we're poor, so we'll just sell it off for here.
It wasn't so much that they were poor; they didn't.
How much do they sell it off
for? Reasons.
Don't know.
Now, didn't they have to crowdfund to buy it back?
They crowdfunded to buy it back.
Yeah, how much was the crowdfund?
At least $5 million.
Oh, they made way more than that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
There was a good investment and a beneficial one as well.
I'm wishing that if I had seen the angel investment for that, I wish I would have had some money to put into that.
Now, are they going to be
this
smart
is from
and release physical media of it on DVD?
Probably. I know they're trying to get a release in Mexico.
Huh?
I know Angel Media is trying to get a Sound of Freedom release in Mexico.
I'm surprised it wasn't already.
Here's what I'm trying to read.
This is
$5 million. That was the goal to get to the crowdfunding back. Now that's from Wikipedia, so take that for a pinch of salt. But it was $5 million.
But no, they're trying to get it shown in Mexico. They haven't announced an official date yet, but so far, what it's made, which has been over 80 million, has just been domestic.
Mm-hmm. I've invested in 2 other of their projects, and I'm hoping they do like one of them. I'm hoping does like even a quarter as well.
Right, so that means they made $75 million. Basically.
Well, no, the movie still had a budget of 14 mil.
Yeah, but they didn't pay that 14 mil. They paid $5 million to get the rights to it. That 14 mil was Fox, not them.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad Angel got it. Because I think this is part of a cultural shift. It's starting to turn around. As far as things have been pushed, we're finally starting to see it push back. And this movie might not have been intended to be part of a pushback in a full-blown culture war like we're in now. But the timing is almost perfect.
That's the irony of the whole thing. This thing was made before everything hit the fan. I mean, don't get me wrong, things were going bad in 2018 on a cultural level, but it hit the fan in 2020. That's my opinion. So here it was, packaged, finished, and it just sat there. And Disney thought if we hide it, it won't cause us any problems. Boy, were they in for a rude awakening.
It literally friggin' outbeat their main IP for Lucasfilm that hadn't been destroyed. On top of that, it friggin' it's just it's amazing. It's been top of the theater for release day of Mission Impossible. It was actually Sound of Freedom at the #1 spot, not Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible took the #1 about the next day, but on release day of Mission Impossible, Sound of Freedom was #1. Think of that.
Yeah,
And
no,
that's
Gina.
that's a very good thought because we're seeing a good response from people to this movie, which tells me regular people that aren't twarped in the head by all the modern day politics are still out there and they're still active. And that
And
means, there's
Yeah.
more regular people than there are nut jobs doing all the screaming and authoritarian word policing and all that.
Yeah. Well,
what's
But
cool?
they're so loud, everybody is afraid to speak up and just say, hey, people are people. Let them be people.
yeah, and there are a lot of people waking up though, and
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of different things are changing. Like there was the one, was it Georgia? I think had a Democrat leave her party because they kept trying to shove her in a hole, and she's like, "No, this is an important thing. We got to do this for the kids," and so she switched parties.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, it's okay. So
But
everybody's
Monty.
everyone's claiming this is a Christian movie. To be honest with you, the only time the Christian references really showed up was when the actors were literally breaking in the movie because of all the horrors they're seeing.
yeah,
Well, there have, but I want to point out there have been some very good Christian movies that have come out. I went and I saw, what was it? Oh God, it was about that reporter that converted based on his investigation of the biblical story, and it was a major hit. The book was a major hit, and they made a story out of it. The Case for Christ.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Case Forgotten. Yeah,
That actually was a pretty good movie. My wife thought it was kind of corny in spots, but there I didn't. I'm really get kind of like I'm actually very down on Christian a lot of Christian endeavors because they're corny and they're not really well done. But I thought that was very good. Risen was another one with was it Ray Fiennes? That was a really good movie. It's about
Watch Book of Eli.
Book of. You mean the one with Denzel?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a really good movie as well. If you haven't seen it, the Nativity.
John A. Douglas is in the chat. How's it going, John?
The Nativity, I watch that movie every Christmas, and it is a really well done movie. So there's been an uptick, I think, in some of the movies that have come out. There's another one, The Gospel of Paul, I think, that came out. That was kind of boring, but it wasn't bad. It just wasn't a great movie.
have you seen Mother?
No, God, yeah, I saw sections of that. I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
It's insane. Like I watched it with my girlfriend at the time, and we had to look like, what the heck's going on with this? But then, it's a analogy for like the Bible story and everything. Like, oh, okay, so this is Adam and Eve. This is the poet's God. Oh, okay. Or started clicking in and everything. But it's an insane movie.
And
Haven't
Stormcrow,
seen
no,
it.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the acting was pretty solid as well. I mean, I thought it was pretty well written, but
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't knocking on Christian movies. It's just say if you're like not a Christian, you could understand where they put the references in Sound of Freedom.
Monty,
It's the
are
only
you, are
way
you
to-
responding to Gino? Because he didn't say it was a Christian movie. He was saying them damn Christians putting out good content.
Well,
Meaning the
it's
writers,
definitely a
the
Christian movie because like one of the main things they want to really point across is God's children are not for sale. That was like one of the key lines. God's children are not for sale. You know?
and I think the Angel Network, I think, is responsible for a lot of Christian content.
I mean, agnostic
Yeah.
people will make statements like that. Secular people make statements like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because it's a true statement.
But
Yep.
I think the Angel Network is focused on Christian content, which
Yeah,
I don't care who well, I do kind of care to a certain extent who puts out the movie, as long as it's a good movie that I actually want to watch.
They are the key to any story is sometimes knowing when you have to kill your darlings, which what I mean by is having restraint. As much as you want to go all over the place, you gotta refine the story so it's simple, concise. I'm not saying it has to be a simple story, but it's concise enough that the audience can get it in its runtime. So when you do a religious story, you can't just be going every 5 seconds with, look at this symbolism, this iconography that has nothing to do with the main plot. You can't do that.
Yeah.
I think Angels, I'll let you one more, but I think Angel Studios, they've found a way to have well-produced movies that have a religious undertone, but they have a way to refine it. They have a refined message.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the Christian movies, their idea for their presentation wasn't bad. They just weren't very good at the doing it part.
Yeah.
I
They always have a
invested,
lower budget. It's always
I
a smaller
invested in
studio.
2 of their other movies, and one of them is a animated movie that's coming up about David, I believe. So I'm pretty sure that will cover it. Let's see. What was it? Maybe, no, is it David or Daniel? I don't remember.
I think it's
an
Daniel,
animated-
and that should be interesting. Boy, he
Yeah,
had some
it looks
he
really
had
good.
some really freaky visions. That would be cool. I don't think they had mushrooms, Trippy, back in Babylon.
No, but there was a fungi that grew on wheat. That's similar to LSD.
Well,
Not to
you,
mention they would also, sometimes get
LSA.
high just by getting stung by scorpions.
You know what show
Toads, you could always look at
handles,
toads. Shit rain
handles
from the sky.
religion very well without being a religious show, and I wish more people would draw on this. And it's a Marvel show of all things, Daredevil.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
Catholic is a huge part of who he is, and they didn't shy away from it. But at no point did you feel like you were being preached at, even though there was a lot of Catholic representation in this show.
Yeah,
And
you ain't
that's-
gonna get that in
That's
Disney.
the way to do it.
You're not gonna get
But-
any
but-
of that in Disney's.
But
Yeah, no.
technically, that was Disney, but that was before they really pushed the political.
Oh,
agendas.
the Daredevil shows that was 100% Netflix, not
Well,
Disney.
it was actually no, it was ABC, and it was distributed by Netflix, and it was advertised as Netflix original. Was ABC Studios that made it, which is owned by Disney.
that had a rough start too, but from what I heard, because I didn't after the first season, I was kind of tuned out about it. But from what I heard, it got progressively better as it went on, and people, by the time they got rid of it, people were all bent out of shape because it was a good series.
It was